Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Susie Jane Designs. In today's video, I'm pretty excited about it because this is going to be a Goodwill thrift Halloween flip. And it was a ton of fun doing it, and my girls actually went to Goodwill with me and helped me pick out the items and what we were going to do with them. So I hope you guys enjoy it as much as we have and I really enjoyed making them a lot. Halloween is like my jam. Anyway, so if you're new to my channel, please make sure that you hit that subscribe button down below and the notification bell next to it so that you can be notified every time I upload a video. And yeah, all right guys, let's go ahead and jump into the project. Dog?
I was quiet, so the dog completely like...
I don't need any of your clickety clacking.
Clickety clickety clack.
Julia!
So first I'm going to start with this cat that I picked up from Goodwill. I got it on 50% off day, so I believe it was like $2, somewhere around there. Anyway, I went ahead and removed the sticker and gave it a good cleaning. And I also removed the bow that was on there and any glue residue left behind. Now it's time to go ahead and start painting. I'm using my Waverly chalk paint in the color ink, and I am covering the entire cat in this black paint. It did actually take about 3 coats, and I had to let it completely dry in between in order for me to be able to cover up the cat. One thing I did not show in the video is I did do a light sanding on the cat to try and get some of that gloss off, but it was very high gloss kitty cat. So just be patient, take your time. You know, layers of paint, they work. You can get the full cat painted. Once my full cat was painted, it was time to work on the eyes. So I'm using my Waverly chalk paint in the color white to paint the whites of the cat's eyes. This actually only took 1 coat, which is one of my favorite things about using chalk paint. Once my white paint was completely dry, I'm going to make the irises. Now I'm doing green cat eyes because I want this cat to look more like Binks from Hocus Pocus. So I just used a picture of Binks from the movie to kind of, you know, as a guide of how I wanted the eyes to look. So the base color for the eyes was actually like a light green color, almost a neon green color, but I did also include some yellow and some darker green to give it a little dimension. So now it was time to go ahead and clean up where I had gotten paint on the black part. So I just used my black chalk paint and I cleaned up those areas where I got white paint where it shouldn't be. And then I also went ahead and made the pupils for the cat. This part was a little difficult because if you've ever seen Binks, he doesn't really have like the slits that a normal cat does. So I would just recommend look at a picture and follow that process. And that is literally all it took to make Binks the cat from Hocus Pocus out of a Goodwill ceramic cat. So for the next project, I'm taking this stack of books. I got this again on 50% off day, so it was about $2.50 for this whole thing. And I don't know, I don't know. I threw away most of this greenery, to be honest. I did keep a couple of pieces that weren't too terribly damaged or dirty, but I got rid of a majority of this stuff on here. So I separated the books because I did want to work on them individually, and now I'm just taking my pencil and I'm sketching out what I want each one of my books to say. I want one of them to say spells and the other one to say potions. And I'm sketching it out first so that I can get the positioning of my letters and the font that I want to use before I go back in with my hot glue gun and actually build up those letters out of hot glue. So I'm just following that guideline that I laid out before. This does not have to be perfect at all. I kind of wanted it to be a little bit messy. I just felt like that looked really creepy and cool. I don't know. Anyway, in between each one, I did let that layer of hot glue dry completely, and then I did a second layer over the top of it to make sure that they really stood out very well. Once that hot glue was completely dry, I went over both books, including the letters, and making sure to get in between them very well with my black Waverly chalk paint. You don't have to paint the entire part of the book that's going to be glued together. You'll see what I mean here in a little bit. But anyway, I painted both books in the black color. So now I'm taking these plastic snakes from the dollar store and I am gluing two of them together opposite of each other. Hopefully you can just see what I'm talking about because that's kind of hard to explain. So on my poisons book, I just wanted to glue one snake in the corner where I knew the books would kind of be, it wouldn't be under the top book, if that makes sense. I don't know. And then on the other book, I glued the two intertwined snakes towards the top of the book. Now, I'm going to be honest, in retrospect, I probably should have glued my snakes on first and then painted them, but I didn't do that, so you'll want to make sure that you cover them with black paint. Now for the poisons book, I took that same light green color and I'm brushing over this. I don't want to completely cover up the black, but I do want the book to be mostly green. These books are like cloth, so they were super absorbent, so it did take me a couple of layers. Once I got the green paint on, I'm going back with a smaller brush and I am making the letters more of a gold color. And then I did use the gold to kind of highlight the edges and some random areas on the top of the book as well. Oh, and of course the snake, because I wanted the snake to stand out too. For my spells book, I wanted to go ahead and paint this one purple, and I just used a purple acrylic paint and followed the same steps that I did on the other book. And I know it looks super in your face purple right now, but I promise once it starts absorbing, it does darken up a little bit. And really getting those letters and the snakes with that gold paint makes them stand out so well. Now, once both of my books were dry, it's time to glue them together, and I'm gluing the spells book at an angle on top of the potions book. And that is all there is to this Goodwill project. So for this next one, again, I got it 50% off, so it was $2. And as soon as I saw it, I knew I wanted to remove the back off of it and see if I could change the inside because I liked that it was a shadow box type frame. So I'm using a small flathead screwdriver to remove the backing off of this. Be very careful when you're doing this because I did scrape my knuckles. Once I had the backing off, I wanted to go ahead and remove the S carefully because I want to save the S. I think it makes a great S for Santa for Christmas. I don't know. So I removed the S so I could work with the backing. Now, once I had the S off, you could totally paint this, but I actually wanted to use this scrapbook paper that I had, so I just picked an area that I liked, flipped it over, traced it out, cut it, and I just hot glued it into place. Once I got that paper down nice and secure, it was time to move on to my letters. I got these letters from the Target dollar spot. Great deal. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue these letters down because I want to make sure that they stick really well. So I'm starting with Hocus towards the top, and I put Pocus not all the way at the bottom, but closer to the bottom and left a space kind of in between them. And then it came with these cute little ravens, so I am gluing those towards the bottom of the page. And that is really all there is to those stickers. You could totally leave it like this if you wanted to, but of course I can't do that. So I continued by adding some creepy cloth that I got from the dollar store and just gluing it around the edges. Once I got it glued in place, I did go ahead and trim off all of the excess so that this piece will fit back into the frame really well. And then I removed the ribbon from the back of the frame. This piece was definitely dirty and needed a good cleaning, so I gave it a quick cleaning before moving on to the next step. So I started out with a small brush because I wanted to make sure that I didn't get any black paint on the glass, but I'm painting this with the Waverly chalk paint in the color ink. Once I get all of those edges around the glass done, I do go back with a bigger brush and I make sure to also do all of the sides and that back piece that's the shadow box piece, because you will see that when it's hanging up. So that center part was looking a little bare in between the two words, so I'm using the stickers from the dollar store and I'm using a period and 2 exclamation points for the center. Then I'm taking some of this moss from the dollar store and I'm just hot gluing it down into the bottom portion of the picture frame only. Then I added some of those little orange sparkly balls and some lights, and this project is done. So some of my film got corrupted, so I didn't get to show you guys this full process. But this is a wood sign that was super cute. It says Charlie Forever, My Sunshine. It's just a wood frame that I got from Goodwill. I believe it was $2.50 on half off day. And it's a really substantial wooden frame. So what I did was I took my Waverly antique wax and I went around the edges of the wood sign. And then you'll see on the back side, I actually painted that entirely black to make it look like a chalkboard. So here it is all nice and stained and painted and it looks beautiful. I actually used my Cricut to make the font, but you can totally write it out. And I just used a quote from the movie Practical Magic because that is another one of our favorite Halloween movies. Actually, we just watch it all year long. But I went ahead and put this text on there and removed it. Once I got everything in position really well, I just smoothed it out, and that is all there is to this project. It's a super simple project to take something that wasn't intended to be this way and make it something completely different. And I can still use the back if I want to make something different.
That's it for today's video, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making them. So until next time, I'll be seeing you.
Screw